Greetings and welcome to LGR Oddware, where we're taking a look at hardware and software that is odd, forgotten, and obsolete. Like this wonderful thing right here. This is the ever elusive Creative 3DO Blaster card, and it is a fully fledged 3DO game console built onto a PC expansion card, letting you play 3DO games in Windows 3.1. This is a treat. Let's get right to it. Alrighty, so this right here is the legendary Creative Labs 3DO Blaster, a fully fledged 32-bit game console on a PC expansion card. The ultimate game platform for the PC. Yeah, forget the PC itself as a gaming platform, the 3DO is where it's at. Or at least it was when this launched in late 1994 for $399 US, the suggested retail price for this particular bundle here. Let's take a moment to savor the experience, shall we? Because this is one of those all-time holy grail kind of devices among a certain subset of retro PC collectors. I don't have any official sales numbers, unfortunately, but by all accounts, these didn't exactly fly off the shelves. As such, it's become an absolute rarity, so a huge thank you to Brandon Cobb for lending me his for this video. I've wanted to explore the 3DO Blaster for over a decade, but they've become almost impossible to find, either loose or complete in box, with just one or two a year popping up on eBay. And prices reflect that too. The last boxed example I bid on surpassed my limit immediately and sold for over $4,000. Yeah. And amusingly enough, what you get in the box isn't everything you actually need to run it. This bundle contained the card and its cables, 2 3DO games, a CD sampler, and a gamepad. It did not include a CD-ROM drive, or even a sound card for that matter. Those were both separate purchases on top of the $400 it cost for this card in 1994, at least in this original bundle, so users were paying a hefty premium over just the console itself. Yeah, the 3DO infamously launched at a suggested $699 in 1993, but by late 1994, it had dropped to $399, same as the Creative card without the needed CD-ROM drive. Despite this though, the 3DO Blaster received quite the positive media reception. Journalists were rather impressed with its polygonal 3D and full-motion video capabilities, and it ended up winning the Electronic Entertainment Magazine Breakthrough Hardware Award. Although reviewers rightly called into question how large a market there actually was for it, especially since PC hardware and games were getting better all the time. Like really, what was the overlap of people who owned a suitably spec'd desktop PC and also wanted a $400 console on a card? As you might expect, potential customers were even more skeptical, venting their frustration on news groups and message boards. With its considerable asking price and needing to buy a separate CD-ROM drive and perhaps even a sound card, opinions were largely that of bewilderment. While others seemed befuddled at the whole idea of game systems in general, just look at this piece of video games journalism from the Orlando Sentinel in October of '94. A Nintendo is fine for playing Pac-Man or Space Invaders, but serious game players marvel at the power of the 3DO. Think of it as the world's most powerful Nintendo. Nintendo and similar machines attached to television sets, annoying parents who would like their children to spend less time in front of the television. With the Blaster card, however, home computer owners have an alternative. The kids can be steered to the computer for both personal productivity and arcade fun. Yeah, okay. Much better to have the kids playing the world's most powerful Nintendo sitting in front of a computer monitor rather than a TV, I guess. Oh, and get this. Apparently there was a Macintosh version of the 3DO Blaster planned. At least it was talked about here and there. It was never released, to my knowledge, possibly due to the PC version falling flat, but yeah, that was a thing. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what $400 got you back in the day, starting with the 3DO Blaster card itself. It's a lengthy 16-bit ISA board packed with an impressive assortment of chips, headers, and jumpers with 3 D-sub ports, one for VGA input, the middle for VGA output, and a 9-pin connector for hooking up a 3DO controller. The 3DO Blaster came with this one, the ControlPad 3BC100 by Logitech. And it is dreadful. Blech. mushy, unresponsive D-pad, dissatisfying face buttons, awkward little shoulder buttons, and a complete lack of the awesome headphone jack and volume knob on the original 3DO controller. Forgivable since it's relying on your PC's sound card output, but what I can't forgive is the fact that there's no daisy chain port. Yeah, both the 3DO and this card have only one controller port, with the idea being that you'd plug second, third, and fourth controllers into one another in a chain instead of using a multi-tap adapter. Yet the included Logitech controller here only works alone, or as the final link in a chain of other, better controllers. As a result, swapping it out for any other 3DO controller is advised, as even the quirkiest third-party pads can pretty much all be daisy-chained. At the heart of the card beats the same 32-bit 12.5 MHz ARM60 CPU as the full-sized 3DO game console, along with 2 MB of system memory, 32K of static RAM with battery backup, and 1 MB of video RAM, as well as the 3DO's 2 custom co-processors named Clio and Madam. These pack a custom DSP for 44.1 kHz 16-bit audio and graphics acceleration capable of pushing over 10 million pixels per second, with hardware scaling, rotation, and texture mapping. Again, all the same as its console counterpart. One thing that differs though is this MVM121A chip, something normally only seen in VGA capture cards, which makes sense. The 3DO Blaster is effectively capturing your PC's display and mixing it in with 3DO gameplay to create a combination of the two. This is further evidenced by the inclusion of the VGA feature connector, typically only seen on older capture cards, TV tuners, and MPEG video decoders. You also get this lengthy pin header for connecting an FMV daughter board for video CD decoding, but while 3DO consoles got this in the form of the digital video module, it seems the daughter board never came out. And then the other header here is for connecting the CD-ROM drive, the not-so-optional CD-ROM drive. It is of course required since the 3DO plays games off CDs. It can't just be any old CD drive either. You need a Creative CR563 in particular, either the original or the B model. Creative obviously preferred if customers bought it directly from them, but there are identical models from Panasonic/Matsushita that work well and typically are easier to find. You'll also need a Panasonic CD interface cable to connect the drive to the card. The cable itself is pin compatible with IDE, but the controller interface is proprietary, so connecting to the card is necessary. As for the sound card, well, nearly anything with a 4-pin CD audio header will do, as that's the only thing used by the 3DO Blaster. It generates its own digital sound, so your sound card capabilities don't matter so long as it handles CD audio. One 4-pin cable goes between the sound card and the 3DO Blaster, and the other one then goes between that and the CD-ROM's analog audio header. Much more important is the video card connection situation, which comes in the form of the aforementioned feature connector ribbon and VGA loopback cable. The feature connector either plugs into a pen header or an edge connector, depending on your video card. The 3DO Blaster supports both. And the loopback cable goes between the video card and the blaster, passing the video through from one to the other. And with all that connected, you're pretty much good to go. It's all software beyond this point, and speaking of which, you get a bundle inside this bundle. There's the 3DO Blaster installation disc, a driver disc for the CD-ROM, a collection of Aldus graphics software for Windows 3.1, an interactive 3DO sampler CD with demonstrations of several games and applications, and 2 full games, Gritters, developed by Tetragon, and Shockwave from Electronic Arts. Also in the box is the expected assortment of paperwork with a registration card, an offer to join the short-lived 3DO Club, a software catalog going over all the latest releases in 1994, and an instruction manual. One that happens to be in German, since that's where this particular card was originally sold. Yeah, the majority of 3DO Blasters I've seen for sale have actually been in Europe, so I assume it had a somewhat better reception there. And check this out, I love this. You also got this classy 3DO case badge, apparently called the Symbol of Power. Considered a fair warning to observers, you were dealing with a multimedia powerhouse. PC expansion cards and their accompanying bragging rights, some things never change. We've spent more than enough on all this though. It's time to power up the LGR Woodgrain PC, set up the software, and play some 3DO games on an MS-DOS computer. Alrighty, it is time to finally check out the Creative Labs 3DO Blaster card, and I've got it installed and ready to go here on Windows 3.1, which was actually a little easier than I anticipated in terms of getting the software set up. It actually only needed the one driver disk for the 3DO Blaster itself. The CD-ROM didn't need any kind of setup. That other disk was just a standalone thing for the CD-ROM drive being installed on its own in DOS and such. And of course, it handles setup of the card itself, just making sure that it sees it, and once it does, it configures everything and it's ready to go after a restart. So that was refreshingly simple. However, something that wasn't so straightforward was actually getting the hardware itself installed into this computer. And anyway, it's just a really large, long card. So for one thing, the Pentium Overdrive CPU that's installed in this thing right now, the heatsink got in the way and the card couldn't install in a lot of the slots towards the middle, so I had to go all the way to the top and kind of reach the ribbons and cables around and cram things here and there to make sure everything was connected. You know, the card has to be connected to the sound card, and then you've got another ribbon going from the blaster to your video card, and it is like a Medusa stuck itself into the inside of my computer here. It's not great, but it works. And due to the fact that it needs this particular CD-ROM, I've gone ahead and swapped out the one that was in here with the Creative Labs model. All right, so yeah, everything is all set up and good to go. All you need to do in order to run it is open the 3DO Player application here in Windows 3.1, and yeah, it's already running in the background. So you've got the disk questioning screen that pops up when you don't have a CD in the 3DO. You can hit Control R to reset the system and Control F to go full screen, which looks a lot better. It's actually got proper scaling and such. But look at that. Oh, that's so cool. So it's got its own little splash screen animation deal. But yeah, let's go ahead and well, we're gonna look at some of these features and whatnot as we get a game in there. And I've got a bunch of games. Now, we're not gonna take a look at absolutely every one of these, but these are a few of the items from my collections, these long boxes. Definitely gonna take a gander at a couple of these here, and then Brandon also sent in a whole box full of some games and CD jewel cases, and definitely a few of these that I've always wanted to try out on the 3DO and never actually have. First one we're gonna go with though is Road Rash, one of my favorite games from that period in the 90s, and one of the best versions of the game, I think. Just gonna get that inserted into the CD drive here, and yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go into full screen here and just reset the system, and yeah, it should load exactly as it does on a regular 3DO full-size console. A 3DO experience from Electronic Arts. Ah, there we go. Full motion video goodness and copyrighted music, unfortunately. So let's get past that. Sorry, Soundgarden. I'm gonna try out this not so satisfying controller. And yeah, I mean, it's 3DO. I tried to hit that one and totally missed, and oh, that's not even the person I was trying to hit. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it's Road Rash on 3DO, Windows 3.1. This is so cool, man. Okay, so let me go ahead and pause it here. So there's a few other things that obviously I want to talk about. So for one thing, the way it's doing scaling, it differs depending on, well, you know, what you choose here. And yeah, this looks a little weird too. I'll tell you why in a moment. Let me try to get this in a good spot. So yeah, you got computer mode, field 1, field 2, anti-flicker TV mode, anti-tearing TV mode. So these each do different things. Like this is like a interlaced flickery type of image. This is an interlaced image that has some kind of effect applied to it, and these just drop different fields of the interlaced image. So it's still coming through just how it would on a normal 3DO console, you know, like connected to a TV, but it's going through that capture card portion of it. It's effectively like a creative video blaster frame grabber, and it's just combining it with your video card and making it happen. So anyway, I usually prefer Field 1 here, or just the anti-flicker TV mode actually ends up looking pretty good. It's interlaced, but yeah, you can see the interlacing effect going on. But you get like the full frame rate as well this way. Not that this is a particularly high frame rate game. As for why these menus look weird, let me go ahead and just let this run in the background and explain that really quick, because this is fascinating. So there's this color key option here, and you can select which color is going to be keyed out. It's effectively like a chroma key thing. So you can select a different color, and then now menus are going to look fine because none of those colors are on these menus. But if I were to select a different color here, like say green, anything that is green on the computer is going to be keyed out. So you have this here in instead of the wallpaper going on, you got a 3DO game playing in the background. And then in terms of what it's doing with that chroma key, let's go into Solitaire. You've got the green background of Solitaire keyed out, and then Road Rash is just going in the background. So yeah, you can have a game of Solitaire going, you can have a 3DO game going, Windows 3.1 applications, whatever. It all just sort of works, and it doesn't have a penalty to pretty much anything in terms of the PC performance, because it's all going through the processing of the 3DO Blaster card itself. And it's taking care of the video overlay stuff and hardware. It's just really impressive in its own weird way for the time period, I think. I mean, again, it's effectively just a capture card with a 3DO on there, and so it's making things happen that you could do with other frame grabber solutions from back then, but I don't know, there's something extremely charming about this, and just downright silly. This is prime oddware, I love it. So yeah, let's try another game here because I want to demonstrate something else. I got Doom, the 3DO version of that, which is, it's not great, but we'll try it anyway. And yes, it plays in that tiny little window. Yeah, like I said, not a great version of the game. Kind of cool soundtrack in terms of the CD audio, but that's about it. And this controller does not do it any favors. Again, buttons and D-pad are just horrendous. And while I do have other better controllers on hand, something I want to show you here, I think this is really cool. So if we go back here to the emulation thing, check this out. We have keyboard and joystick. Keyboard mapping, joystick calibration. Yeah, you can use a 15-pin game port joystick for your PC, like connected to your sound card, or map things to the keyboard with whatever keys and whatever configuration you want. I'm just gonna go with this setting, and yeah, check this out. You can play Doom with a keyboard on a computer. Imagine that. The most pointless thing, considering you can play like a full proper version of Doom, of course, on this computer, and it would look and run better at the proper window size and everything, but whatever, dude. It's a 3DO. Windows 3.1, Doom. Playing it with a keyboard. The combination of insanity going on here is just glorious. Crappy version of the game, phenomenally enjoyable implementation. In case you're wondering if you can look at the files in File Manager of a 3DO CD, you can't. It's not actually the file system that is compatible. It's not ISO 9660, it's a 3DO thing, so the only way you can read the things that are on there is through the 3DO Blaster player program itself. Otherwise, it does work as a normal CD-ROM drive in Windows and DOS, but yeah, 3DO stuff, you can't actually see anything. You can also adjust the overlay stuff itself in terms of like changing around the way the card is capturing the footage so you can move it around like horizontally and vertically and all that. Swap around some of the sync settings and things. I have just thoroughly ruined something. Whoops. Yeah, different SKUs and all these kind of capture card things. Let's go ahead and try this one. This is a great version of the game on here. Street Fighter II Turbo, the 3DO version, is quite good from what I recall. While this is loading, I'm just going to mention a couple other things. Well, not really. I mean, there's not too much else to mention. I've pretty much shown what it can do. Oh yeah, look at that. Man, that looks exceptional on this monitor. Holy crap. But anyway, yeah, that's about it in terms of all the features, right? So pretty much showed everything. Color keying, video overlay, those were two of the most interesting things, and emulation of different control options. You can also freeze frame things like that if you want to. I don't know what the point of that is necessarily, except it's just, oh, I like this frame. Unfreeze. Yeah, always on top is more useful if you have it, like, say, in a window like this over here, and you want to do something else in Windows, like, yeah, I need to calculate some things while Street Fighter II Turbo is going for some reason. So, yeah, you can do that.
Round one.
Wow, check it out. It's amazing. And you can actually change this as well. I thought this was kind of weird. Like, you can scale it to just whatever you want, man. Look at that. You know, for the people that have always wanted to play a super slimline version of Street Fighter II Turbo. There it is. I guess it thinks I'm player 2 for some reason. Oh, because I have keyboard set to player 1 right now, right? So I could do, like, play against myself. Yeah. So keyboard is set to player 1. I forgot that I had that enabled. And then this crappy controller is player 2.
Round one. Fight.
Again, this controller is terrible for it. But with the keyboard, honestly, I prefer keyboards with fighting games a lot of times. Dude, that's so cool, man. Now, something else I was curious about, because of the drive and the age of it and all that, is burned CDs, because the 3DO doesn't have copy protection. So you can just write your own discs, and it works fine on, like, the FZ1 console that I have. But I wasn't sure about this Panasonic CD-ROM that Creative has you use with it. A lot of times CDRs, like burned CDs, just won't work on these older drives. So I burned a copy of The Need for Speed, since I can't actually find my Longbox copy. I don't know where it is. I had it out for that Need for Speed video I did a year or two ago, and it's somewhere. Wow, all right, so it has no problems reading this disc anyway. It's a slightly newer CDR as well. So again, sometimes these older drives have problems reading, like, newer CDRs, or if they're burned too fast. I burned this, I think, at 16x. Was as low as it would allow me to go. But it's working, so in case you're not aware, this...
Okay.
Okay.
For every red-blooded, land-loving, land speed record wannabe ever wanted. A free ticket in the rocket of your dreams.
I was gonna say, in case you're not aware, this is the original version of Need for Speed, and it's got the X-Man. It's just a wonderful game. Not nearly as many tracks, but it does have all the same cars. You just have City, Alpine, and Coastal in terms of the tracks. And this version of the game in particular, you know, even though there was the original Need for Speed for DOS, it's slightly different, right? There were some tweaks to the physics and such. The 3DO version, though, this is where it's at. Let me see if what are the controls on the keyboard I have it set up here. There we go. Yeah. It's a slower, more realistic kind of thing, you know? The physics are heavy. This is a very intentional racer. It's just, I don't know, man, there's something special about the 3DO version of Need for Speed, and it doesn't feel like any of the ports. It's almost like it's running in slow motion, but that's just how this version of the game works. Ooh. Yeah. This is wild. I love this. And again, it looks so good. You know, but considering. Still not super high resolution, but on this kind of CRT, it's... Wow, that sucked. This is one I never tried. Lucian's Quest. Well, that just happened. Far, far away among the mountains, there was a tower called Pinakothek. Those graphics. All right. I've been told that the great sorcerer Kokindo lives here. Is it possible to see him? My master's gone. What? What the balls? Hubbly bubbly boo. Oh, hey, finally. I can walk around. Hey. What a grand overworld theme. Ooh, we got a random encounter. It appears. Aha! Getcha. Yeah, this is cool. I don't know, kind of view, like the perspective is neat. Yay, experience in gold. Dang, that's pretty cool. Never played it before. Now I have. Something else I've never played before. Another copied game.
Hi, my name's Jane. We hardly know each other, but that's about to change. You're going to get to know a lot about me, maybe even more than you imagine. This whole thing's kind of like a blind date. I mean, here we are in your brand new Corvette, riding along with super information.
You know, I had to. Plumbers don't wear ties in case you're somehow not aware. It's a 3DO. You got to, basically. There is actually a PC version of this, by the way. You know, like a native port. These visuals are mind-boggling.
John, if you don't pick up this phone, I'll be in your face in 5 minutes.
Kind of looks like Zachary Quinto.
Okay, whatever you want.
Now, what have you done with Amy?
I got her boiling in garlic oil.
Don't get smart with me. Why haven't you asked her out? What did you say?
I said she's pretty, but it's obvious I haven't had time.
Well, you better make...
What? just cut off. Okay. I've had enough. I have had enough. Oh, yeah, one more game. Gotta try some Gex, man. Gex! Let's see how a platformer plays. I mean, I'm sure it'll play fine, but...
It all started so simply.
Fired up the Barca Lounger, grabbed a quick bite to eat, and prepared to watch some serious tubes.
I gotta say, the VGA monitor does not do the FMV any favors. But like crispy graphics like that, they look fantastic.
Lock and load, little lizard.
Yeah, like this right here, that looks fantastic in terms of the crispiness of the pixels and all that, man.
Ooh, trick or treat.
Gex is one of those that I always enjoy more in my mind rather than like actually playing it. It's a fine game, I guess. I don't know. I just, it's always slightly clunkier to play than I remember. Again, this terrible controller's not doing it any favors. Okay, well, anyway. Creative 3DO Blaster, yeah, it does pretty much exactly what it says it does, and does it extremely well. Well, that's it for the ultimate game platform for the PC. The 3DO Blaster card is just a lot of fun. It is a shame that it's so expensive and rare on the collector's market these days, and it's kind of a pain to set up with all those cables and stuff, but at the same time, it's just so amusing that I can't help but adore this, and I completely understand too, though, why it didn't really take off at all, here in the US at least. I mean, you know, $400 when the console cost the same and you still needed a CD-ROM drive and sound card. And I mean, you know, it was a 3DO too. You had the PlayStation coming out that year. Yeah, why, right? But I'm so glad that it exists. I'm glad that I was able to show it to you. And, you know, just this whole idea of game consoles on a PC expansion card is fascinating to me. Something I want to revisit in the future because they weren't the only company to do this. You have companies like Sega releasing hardware, like full-fledged computers like the TeraDrive and the Mega PC with you know, Sega Genesis Mega Drive hardware inside, and of course NEC with the PC FX card, very similar to this actually. I've got some plans, so stick around for that if you like, but in the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed seeing this, in particular on LGR Oddware. And if you did enjoy this episode of LGR Oddware, then excellent. I've made a lot more with all sorts of other videos and other things each week here on LGR. And as always, thank you very much for watching.